Okay, so I was just told we're going to do whatever feels comfortable, ladies and gentlemen. So
Yes. I have informed consent, guys.
come along for the ride. I'm Fingers Malloy. She's Tracy L. Connors. This is the Enough Already podcast. I'm having a fantastic day, Tracy, because we're recording the show on July 1st, which I don't know what day in Pennsylvania all the new screwy laws go into effect. But for us, it's always July 1st every year. So as of today, you cannot have your phone in your hand at all in the state of Indiana unless you want to pay a $500 fine.
While you're driving, you mean?
Yeah, well, I'll give you put that in there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm only giving you half the story. You can walk around with your phone in your hand. Yes, but when you're driving, you're not allowed to have your phone in your hand, or if it will be a $500 fine. Fine up to $500, they say, which means $500.
Well, and so how hard is it to just do this and keep it down in your lap when you want to use it?
I have our good friends at Amazon, who, by the way, should be a full-time sponsor of the Enough Already podcast. We do have the Amazon affiliate link down there somewhere, right? We had something. I don't know.
If you go to the site, go through the link. Yeah. Anything you buy, we get a little cut of. Take it out of Bezos's pocket and put it into ours. Beach House Fund.
Absolutely. Well, I went to the Amazon and I found a mount that will mount exactly where it would be in my hand. So we've got that going. Okay. Crazy ass laws. And listen, no one should be texting while driving. We all know you're not supposed to be doing that. You shouldn't be doing it. And I don't make a habit of it. But I do like to use my GPS a lot. Mm-hmm. Even when I know where I'm going, just because, you got what's the app that isn't
Waze.
Google Maps? Waze. You get real-time traffic updates and stuff like that. And if you live in an area where things get busy, there are traffic jams, it's nice to have that thing. So I use it a lot, and I don't need to be made to feel like that's an awful thing. I'm not looking down at my phone for an hour and a half while I'm driving and then looking back up, but I have it handy. So if it's floating in the air around me, it's attached to a rod that's in my cup holder, that's acceptable. But I'll be damned if it's in my palm. Can't have that. No. I can mess with my radio. I can turn behind and mess with my kids' car seat that they don't use anymore because they're older. Can do all that, but no, don't be looking at your phone, Tracy. We need more interaction between John Q. Public and law enforcement. I've been saying that for a long time.
I am shocked at how many people still drive around and hold the phone to their head to talk into it, though.
Yeah. This is the thing that fascinates me about that is there are a lot of people who seem to be really put off with people putting you on speakerphone. And I don't understand that. I know that it kind of sucks. The audio kind of blows, but it's not that big of a deal. But I thought for years, and I think it is still illegal. You're not supposed to have earbuds in your ears while you're driving, are you? I mean, it used to be against the law to have headphones on.
Yeah, I think the big ones that cover your ears. I don't know. Don't give anybody any ideas. Because as far as I know, it's perfectly legit.
Yeah, so.
But speakerphone's fine as long as you're not walking around in public, which I see quite a bit. And my other favorite is people that FaceTime in public. I don't know if you've noticed that at all or not. I saw some guy shopping and I guess he can't carry a list. So he just carries his wife or his girlfriend with him up and down in every aisle.
And she's doing virtual shopping.
Yes. Maybe she's immunocompromised.
That could be. And that's the thing that I try to be patient with when I go to a grocery store and you're in an aisle and you see someone on the phone or you see somebody FaceTiming someone at home. And it could be, hey, they can't be out in this craziness right now. So cut people some slack. It just cracks me up how at the beginning of all of this, Tracy, everyone was so nice to each other.
That's gone.
Yeah. It was like, oh, after you. Oh, no, after you. And now it's, get the hell out of my way.
I gotta get home.
You jackass. Don't you know how to grocery shop? Why is that phone in your hand? So it's all crazy. I was almost home today and I saw someone talking on their phone like this with the hand in the phone next to their ear. And I thought, oh, $500 fine. They're going to be they're going to take tickets, going to make it rain.
All right. And talking about making it rain with the tickets, I'm headed to the Jersey Shore for the weekend.
Oh, how's Snooki?
Great. She's in Northern Jersey. Fingers, we've been over this before. North Jersey is basically New York, and it's trash. Oh. Southern Jersey, they're kind of sneaking down, but it's mostly okay. But the
Would
town
you say
that
the snookifying the southern part of Jersey, is that what you're saying? The
no, I'm saying they're not.
Oh, they're not.
There's
slowly creeping down.
They're slowly. They don't. A few have trickled through, but it's not snookified yet, and I don't think it will be snookified.
You should build a wall and make Atlantic City pay for it.
Atlantic City can't even pay for their own upkeep.
It's true.
It's a terrible, scary place. But the town that I go to is a dry island. So the snooky types stay away because there's no bars. So there's none of that stuff going on.
Well, I've been to that area, and please explain to me why that continues to be a dry island, because everybody, wink, wink, knows what's going on. You load up on booze, and then
you're allowed to do that.
Okay,
that's not what makes something dry. There's no liquor sales on the island, and none of the restaurants have liquor, nor are there any BYOBs.
I know, but everybody's drinking anyway. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But it keeps bar life down. It's like 1950s idyllic there. And I think it helps keep it that way. So I don't mind it. I don't mind drinking at home. But and people now drink on the beaches. And you have to pay to go to the beach. You have to get a little beach tag. Oh, yeah.
You have to get a beach tag.
And then there's like this group of teenagers that walk up and down the beach and check for tags a couple times a day to make sure that everybody's paid up.
So what if I don't have a beach tag?
Then you have to buy one.
What if I refuse? The teenager's going to kick me off the beach?
Yeah, they'll call
a teenager. Oh, they call the cops.
There's a pack of them.
A pack?
Because they fan out, right? They walk in a line as if it was, they're doing a grid search. But I mean, the way to get around them is you can see them coming. Mm-hmm. So you just, I'm going in the water for a little bit. What are you going to do? Camp out at my towel? They don't care that much. But it's also the city can make money. But the city doesn't seem to want to enforce the liquor laws, which prohibit drinking on the beaches. When I was a kid, it was kind of like maybe you would see a few people sneaking something in a vessel that didn't look like an alcoholic beverage was contained therein. Mm-hmm. Then it slowly progressed to like the red Solo cups. And now it's just like, screw it. They're just drinking beer straight out of the bottle on the beach. So I want to see if now my prediction that the fine police were going to be out hardcore is going to come true.
Well, here's what you do. You take a big beach towel with you, okay, with the big beach umbrella are very popular.
You're back. You take a big beach umbrella.
Yeah, and so you between the beach umbrella and the big towel, you declare that an autonomous zone is what you do.
Oh,
that's what I would do. I would declare it the Tracy L. Connors Beach Autonomous Zone. That's not as catchy as CHAZ, but still, it's an autonomous zone, and you refuse to pay the tab and see what happens.
And I'll just rally all the children that spend the days building giant holes on the beach and get them to build me a fortification.
Yes.
So I can keep that same spot for 4 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Try it.
I'll put pictures on Instagram to come.
Yeah, Periscope, the whole 9 yards. We want to see it. We want to see your autonomous zone on the beach. That's fun.
It is fun.
Well, good for you getting away before they close the beach for the rest of 2020.
Well, yeah. Jersey was supposed to open restaurants tomorrow on the 2nd in in restaurant dining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that went away today. And if you're from, they have a list of, I think, 16 states. And this goes for Jersey, New York, and Connecticut have all said, if you've come from one of these 16 states, you're going to have to quarantine for 14 days if you come visit our state. How are they going to enforce this crap?
Right. I've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You don't work? No, I don't work. Oh, well, we checked your social media because we can do that now. And you posted that you were, somebody else. Wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't know. The Joy Reid's hackers hacked my account. They're giving her Chris Matthews' old time slot.
Of course they are.
She's getting a daily show.
And I know you are thrilled because it's your favorite weekend show.
Huge fan. Yes. Now I can watch her while I eat dinner.
Oh, that's fantastic. If you are a leftist and you've been in the media for a long time and you haven't said awful homophobic things on your personal blog and then blamed it on time travelers, I would think that you would be upset.
You think?
A little bit. Doesn't it feel like they gave Chris Matthews his walking papers sometime around 2013 at this point? It took him a long time to make that decision.
Yeah, who to fill in now or take over? Well, maybe they were running some competition behind the scenes that we'll never know about.
I'm worried about Chris Matthews.
Oh.
What's his name? Who was on for years? He was the toast of the town there for a week, and then he went to RT.
Ed Schultz.
And then he passed away not too long after. So, Chris Matthews, he's a little long in the tooth, isn't he? I mean, he's got to be in his 70s.
Yeah, I would think he's probably close to 70. I thought you were worried about him, and when you said that, my immediate thought was, are they going to mistake him for one of these statues and take him out?
Who knows? I don't understand the left's anger over statues. They're nominating one to be president of the United States. So really, are they that upset about statues? No, I'm trying to think of people off the top of my head that should have been up for that gig and got passed over.
And you got nothing.
I got nothing because I guess
Stacey Abrams deserves that job. Get that woman a real job.
Yes. In fact, we should name her the host during that hour. We'll just do it, and then we should encourage her to Periscope at the same time, claiming that she's on MSNBC. You think we can encourage? Do you think Scam Pack could get behind that? Can we do that?
We can just set the MSNBC primetime lineup with Scam Pack, I'm sure.
Right, and then it would be fun. If we get her to Periscope, and then we'll put the little chyron at the bottom, MSNBC.
We'll talk to Carpe Duncan about that. He's really good at those fake chyrons.
By the way, speaking of Carpe Duncan, you see, I don't know if you have been part of this movement to go to Parler, to leave Twitter and make the jump to Parler, but I believe he's on Parler now, and he's got a ridiculous amount of followers. Something like 200,000.
It's exactly how many he has. Yes, and I got on Parler when they set it up, so I'm at Tracy on Parler. I thought I told you that last week on here. I said I signed up in 2018. Yeah, move over at Jack. Not that I own the thing or anything like that, but I'm the first Tracy on the platform.
So are you active on Parler? I just joined last week, and at Fingers Malloy. I was shocked it wasn't taken.
You didn't just try to go at Fingers?
No.
You're not going first name only?
I thought about it, but I thought you may as well stay consistent. All of my other social media is at Fingers Malloy. So, although it would have been funny to be at Fingers, and I'm sure it's probably available. I don't
know. There seemed to be a hell of a lot of people on the platform. Last week I read they picked up 500,000.
Yeah.
subscribers in a week.
What do you think of it?
It's a Twitter knockoff. And there's really very little difference between the two platforms. Just doesn't seem to have, like, the trending topics thing isn't really there. So it's hard to get used to that and find stuff. People don't seem to use hashtags as much.
Yeah, but I haven't really fooled around with it yet. Like, we're on Locals right now, and you talked me into signing up to be part of Locals, and I was happy to do that. And we have our Locals community. Enough Already. Is it Enough Already podcast or just Enough Already?
Enough Already.
Enough Already over at Locals. And I really haven't had a chance. I work 16 jobs, Tracy, as you know. So, but I haven't got a chance to fool around with that either. So are they both kind of Twitter knockoffs in a way, at least with how they look? Or I know that you've got community. Is Locals more like a bunch of Facebook fan pages? Is that what it's more like? Or?
Yes, it's way more like a Facebook fan page. But you can put stuff behind a paywall. I haven't done that, even though, we do have Beach House dreams someday. But we can upload video directly to there if we wanted to and bypass YouTube. So it's basically a Facebook-like page plus the option to have a Patreon on top of it. So you can have subscribers if you would like to, and then produce additional content for them to make it worth their while.
Nice. Well, the thing that I don't want to say worry about, but when it comes to Parler is it seems like at this point, much of the movement is just conservatives looking to leave Twitter, which is fine. I think that some of them are a little delusional if they think Parler is going to replace Twitter. But I feel like it's going to be another bubble that we're creating. Where people are going to go into their own little bubble, their own little safe space. And what do we gain? Other than if you are a content provider, it's fantastic because now you've got less noise and maybe a more a group that's more focused on the kind of entertainment that you're providing. But it's just
but it's the land of the band, right? It's fun to see, Gavin McInnes, he's on social media again.
Right.
It's like, I forgot about him. Charles Johnson's over there. Milo's over there.
Lord, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Yeah. What does Charles do? Now, he had that website for a while, right? Does he still have it? What's the name?
Yes, no, he's in the Got News, and then he was doing WeSearcher, where they're putting bounties on information to go find stuff or get videos of things. And no, he's in the private sector doing some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But
Milo, did you say Milo? Is Milo on Parler?
Milo's on Parler. Tommy Robinson's on Parler. Katie Hopkins, who got booted off of Twitter last week, she's staked out a claim over there as well. And I don't know. I don't think it hurts to cover all your bases.
Well, no, especially if you are. Look, take Gavin for example. Okay, we like Gavin. Gavin has been very kind to us over the years and has been on the show several times. If you are trying to build a platform, and Gavin has a large following now, so he probably doesn't have to worry about this as much, but still it's something you have to be concerned about. If you're building a platform, if you're building a brand, and part of your business model is based on social media, and you just tweet something one day and they're like, oh, screw you, you're done. We know people who have seen their Twitter accounts taken away, Gavin being one of them, or YouTube saying, yeah, you know what, we're demonetizing your channel. Piss off. What are you going to do?
Yeah. We don't care that you spent 3 years building this up to 1 million subscribers. And speaking of, I think it's really interesting. Until about a month ago, anytime I went to go watch an episode of Rogan on YouTube, it would go right to the episode. No ad, pre-roll, nothing. But since he's announced that he's going to Spotify, all of a sudden, everything's monetized. There's a commercial interruptions in the middle of it. I'm like, You think you're going to be able to win him back? Or are you just trying to make every penny off of him that you can?
There you go. They're going to squeeze every penny they possibly can out of him before he leaves. What's going to be interesting is I don't know enough about his Spotify deal as far as how his archive works.
I think the archive goes all to there. And I don't know about the video side.
So does his YouTube channel, it would be foolish, I would think, to pull the YouTube channel, because there may come a point where he wants to go back to YouTube. And if you just like cancel your YouTube channel, I mean, he's Joe Rogan. I get that if he says, hey, I'm back on YouTube overnight, he's going to get, 1 million fans. But still, like you said earlier, here you are. I mean, a lot of people don't realize he's been doing that show for like 11 years. It's crazy how long he's been doing it. And to just, I mean, he'd be voluntarily doing it, but to pull the plug on a YouTube channel that you've been building for over a decade, that's got to be hard. So it'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an article about it. Well, I'm also getting texts from the Sierra Club Independent Action Committee calling me by my brother's name and asking me, here's what they said. We're working to defeat Donald Trump this November and elect people who will protect our environment and democracy. Can we count on you to vote for Joe Biden and help defeat Trump? And I said, why are you calling me my brother's name? And the answer is, we're using records from the voting rolls. It seems like we must have the wrong number. I will take you off the list. Well, I've had this number since I was 18. Well, and I don't know where people keep getting my phone number, but I've gotten multiple texts from like the Workers' Party people. Mm-hmm. And I love telling them that they're misgendering me. Excuse me, don't assume pronouns. And then I always devolve into like, I've told you commie bastards now 3 times to quit texting me. So you want to know how I feel about COVID and what's going on with COVID and your thing.
The Trump campaign has my email, and apparently they have my name as Jack Powers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Like a 24 reboot.
So, I get this email. They're like, Jack, where have you been? Don't you see what's going on over here, Mr. Powers? Okay, sure. So for a while there, maybe for a week, we will do the Enough Already podcast, and I'll be Jack Powers. You never know.
You should.
The fun never stops.
No, and I encourage everybody, if you get these silly text things, to just have fun with them.
Yeah.
It's much better than the robocalls.
I have not received any weird texts yet from campaigns. You see some of it, and some of them look like they're fake, the screenshots where people are messing with them. But I will take that over the phone calls. And the other thing too, I'm a middle-aged man. I've never been called for an opinion poll in my entire life.
Oh, I get them.
Do you really?
Yep. And then I always lecture them about how poorly worded the questions are. And I'll ask for further clarification and they don't understand. Like I'll get super nuanced. Because they're like, are you a Republican or a Democrat or an independent? And I was like, those are the only choices? Who writes this stuff? Like you realize that there's Green Party people, there's libertarians, there's this, the Democratic Socialists of America. Let's get on the ball here, people. Forcing me into this duopoly thing. I'm not down with that. So write me down as other. Well, there isn't another category. Okay. Can I speak to the manager?
You're Karen them.
I do. I'm going total Karen, I've decided. With certain things, I will write sternly worded letters.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inhaling coffee, by the way. I apologize. I've been up since 4. So anybody watching this over at YouTube or BitChute, they're probably like, why is he picking up his cup every 30 seconds? It's been a day. You know what I did this morning? I was in a hurry, and apparently I left the refrigerator door open.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You had a Biden moment?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm pretty sure most of the food in my refrigerator is ruined. So
nobody came through there anytime after you? And
1:30 in the afternoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Is everybody over there
we all start our days different parts of the day. I started at 4:30 in the morning and some 1:30 in the afternoon.
for their intermittent fasting? Is that what's going on?
I need to start that again, by the way. I started the Atkins thing again today.
Today?
Yes.
Right before 4th of July weekend? That'll go well.
Well, no, that actually does go well because what
Oh.
do you do on the 4th of July weekend? You barbecue. So
And drink.
mhm.
Which
Listen, it all depends if you're a keto Nazi. And if it's you cannot do this, you mustn't do this, you mustn't.
Well, it spikes your insulin, which just defeats the whole purpose.
Well, I do drink a lot of bourbon on the rocks, so there are no carbs. But you're right, it does spike your insulin. But I find if I just don't stuff any sugar or bread in my face.
Well, and you have all these bread substitutes that you've made up at this point.
Yeah, the keto. The carb-free bread from Aldi is fantastic. And by fantastic, I mean passable. I had it today with my burger and it was magnificent. And so I will bring a loaf of keto bread with me.
If you could go a week with no carbs, I bet you would drop 20 pounds. And no carb substitutes, none of this, like the keto bread, the chaffles, like every time you're like, oh, it's a low carb wrap. I'm like, that's all the carbs you're supposed to have in a day. I'll just have 2 of them.
5 carbs. You're supposed to stay under 15 carbs, right?
Yeah.
5 net carbs. So if I have 3.
It's playing the net game, which is bullshit. So for those of you who don't know, there's this whole game that people play on the low carb diet where they're like, well, it's not really the total number of carbs that you see on the nutrition label. You take that and then you minus dietary fibers and sugar alcohols, and then that's the net carbs.
Yeah. Rebel ice cream, and it's very hard to get because the keto people, it's like they bribe the grocery store stock clerks to find out when the truck comes.
Wow.
Once a week, if you don't get there within 4 hours, the whole freezer section of Rebel ice cream is wiped out. They will do pints of something like mint chocolate chip ice cream, and there'll be 4 net carbs in the entire pint. And
Have you had it?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's okay. The flavor's good. I'm sure that they load it with sugar alcohol. The problem is the texture's a little off.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like if you freeze milk.
Okay.
You know how it kind of, it's frozen, but it's flaky when you take a scoop of it. But as a substitute, and I don't know about you, you are a healthier eater than I am. Most people are, and you're much more disciplined than I am. But I know from time to time, you like to go, you have a little me time, and you like to do a little binging.
Oh, yeah.
But and so I don't know about you, but if I get a pint of ice cream, there's no, I'm just going to take 2 spoonfuls. I got this Cherry Garcia and I'm just going to take it. It'll just cure the sweet tooth. I'm eating the whole fucking pint of ice cream. That's what's happening. It's business time. And so I don't know, maybe you're more disciplined than I am when it comes to that.
No, if I'm on a binge streak, there's no just eating the half of that thing. I'll take the whole one. No problem. People
that can, there's this, I wish I knew the brand name of it. It's you're not going to care. It's a brand of ice cream that's got like a screw top on it, and it's like $6, $7.
Yeah, that's my ice cream.
Oh, God, there's a caramel crunch.
Mm.
I love it. And I know it's rich. I don't understand how people can open that pint. Oh, it's got a screw top because then I can put, I just have a couple spoonfuls and then eat the whole damn thing. I don't get it. God bless people who can do it. I can't. So yeah, clearly I'm able to go a week without having one carb in my body. I mean, you talked about for a long time, you were on the carnivore diet, and Rogan was on the carnivore diet for a while. I couldn't do it. And I love meat.
Yeah. I mean, it's brutal in the beginning, and then you get used to it. And I got to tell you, like, I miss the energy levels that I had on that.
You think about going back?
I don't know if I can. I'm like, I haven't lost the weight that I put on when I did that, which was to lose weight to begin with. But I didn't read all the fine print. I didn't read enough of the blogs to be like, hey, if you've been a dieter most of your life, your system's all screwed up. So it could take months to reset. I'm like, I don't have months. It's going to be summer. I got to go to the beach. Plus, I'm in lockdown and they closed my damn gym.
Well, that's what really hurt you. I mean, because it looked like when we do the show, you'll back up sometimes, and when you've got like short sleeve shirts on, it's like it looks like you were jacked.
I was doing yoga every day because that's what I like, yoga, and I got some kettlebells. It's about the best I can accomplish here. They wouldn't let me borrow a treadmill. They wouldn't let me borrow an elliptical. They had to sit in the gym untouched for 3.5 months.
And this is what's funny, because I've heard you talk about this with your gym. I've heard this from other people. I've heard it from you too. And I find it funny that, gyms have been shut down for months. And we have this opening date, depending on what state you're in. It's Friday at midnight, we can open up and all this stuff, and everybody's excited. But I've heard more than one person say, well, my gym may not open up when they can't open up because they have to clean it. And it's like, clean it for what? Do they really think the virus is still hanging out on treadmills that haven't been used in 3.5 months? But that's where we are, because people are worried about getting sued.
Yeah. But people are also worried about going anywhere. So my gym didn't open on Friday. So they did get a nice little Karen note from me. Well, we just got this kind of blanket email like, oh, we can reopen. So in the same building as the gym, there's a computer lab, like business center kind of thing, with some computers and a printer and a photocopy machine and a little library. And then there's a big rec room area with a big flat screen TV, some couches, a kitchen, and a pool table. So that's all been closed for 3.5 months. So we get this note, oh, hey, we know we're going green, in 12 hours or whatever. I mean, this is when it came out. We're going green like 12 hours from now. We just want to let you know we'll be opening up on Monday morning. And I'm like, what the? No explanation as to why. Nothing. So I write to them and I say, I'd like to understand this. And I was polite. I actually read it to a coworker before I sent it. I'm like, I just want to know that I'm not. Well, I just wanted an answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I deal with customers, and if stuff's going wrong, I'm just not like, oh yeah, I know we were supposed to deliver that thing on Friday. It'll be there Monday. No reason, no, I'm sorry, nothing like that. And so I had written this thing saying, first of all, I'm disappointed that you guys haven't been communicating at all, really, during all of this. And secondly, it's incredibly disappointing to find out that I can't go to the gym until Monday morning. Well, I was thinking about going at midnight on Friday. I'm like, I'm ready to get back in there. I just wanted to see how out of shape I've become just walking instead of going and doing hard, heavy cardio. And I said, I phrased it exactly like this. I can't think of a single credible excuse as to why it's not opening on Friday when we go green. Perhaps there is one, and I'm open to hearing it. Please give me a call.
I'm guessing your phone rang 30 seconds after you sent that email.
2 hours later, I get an email.
Oh, I'm surprised they even emailed you back.
Yes, well, whoever wrote it, I think I know who wrote it. But whoever wrote it didn't sign it. And was just like, oh, we're sorry that you're disappointed. We communicated everything there was to communicate. Like, I don't think you understand how people react. There's a really good book called Alchemy that I might have talked about on this show before. And I think the guy's name is Roy Sutherland that wrote it. He works at Ogilvy, which is one of the top marketing firms in the whole world. And he went into great detail about how people like to feel like they have some control over what's happening to them. So
right.
He talks about in London on the tubes, they instituted this thing where they would put up like, the next train will be here in 4 minutes. And people became calmer riders when they had that information. Same thing goes, say your flight's delayed. Do you remember the famous videos? Now, twice I think he's done this, where Cenk Uygur just freaks the hell out at the gate because, like, tell us how long we're going to wait. Like, what is the delay? People lose their minds.
Yeah.
If you just tell people and say, yes, we know it's hard. Like, things are locked down. This is what we're doing. This is our reopening plan, because they delayed the opening of the pool too for no reason. It was just like, oh, we can open it on Friday, but we're going to open it on Monday. So I started writing this thing. I get this note back. Yeah, well, see, the thing is that we need to have this fogger thing. And I've heard about this from other friends who had issues at their places of business where somebody, tested positive. So they had to bring in somebody to basically fumigate the place with disinfectant. So he's like, we were waiting on that. It's been on order for a month and a half, and it's not getting here until Monday morning. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, oh, basically you're telling me you're incompetent fools. They can't figure out, well, because my friends who had to shut down their businesses temporarily were able to get somebody out in 24 hours.
Right.
So it's just like, you're incapable of solving problems. You've had nothing to do except, like, you weren't allowed to go talk to anybody at the office.
Yeah.
This whole time. It's like,
right.
No. So I don't know what it is that you guys have been busy with, but you couldn't figure this thing out. That's when I picked up the phone and called the office. But the guy that I wanted to talk to, he was out at lunch. Oh, that was convenient. So he typed that up, didn't sign it, sent it off to me, and then skedaddled out.
Yeah. Well, I think people lose focus.
Yeah. And I think Fingers loses his connection today for some reason.
That's.
We lost you at people lose focus.
This is crazy.
Okay.
So they're providing you a service, and they think, well, the service I'm providing you is an apartment. Oh, and by the way, the amenities of the apartment are a pool and a gym, but we're providing you an apartment for cash. Well, as a customer, one of the reasons why you may have decided to go with that apartment is because you have a nice gym and you have a nice pool. And you feel cheated when it's supposed to be open and it's not open. I would want a portion of my rent back for the month.
Yes.
Based on that. If it were me, if I were channeling my inner Karen, I would be asking for a prorated percentage of my rent back based on the fact that, okay, I get that the state forced you to close the pool. The state has nothing to do with your incompetence for the 3 days that it was closed.
Right.
So at that point, I want $50. 50. I want a 50.
Yeah. At least 3 months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But so they capped the number of people that are allowed in the gym to 3 people at a time.
Are they getting the teenagers from the beach to monitor this? How are they going to decide who's watching? Are they having a gym lifeguard? What's going on here?
Well, and that was the other, we wanted it to open on Monday so that the office would also be open and we could monitor it to make sure nobody's abusing the occupancy limit of the gym. So they've got me paranoid that I'm going to get home from work all excited that I can finally go to the gym for the first time since like March 17th. And there's going to be 3 people in it, and then I'm going to lose my mind. So thankfully, when I got there was only 2 people. And I was there about 4:30, I guess. So I'm waiting. I'm like, oh, there should be more people coming in around 5. Today's a ghost town. I think people are so scared. I'm like, this is great. It's the cleanest this thing has ever been.
Yeah.
Nobody else is coming in here.
Well, let me ask you this. I did see, you continue to see people doing the mask shaming. I had a friend who said that she just had her first experience where she was walking. She lives in Boston, and she was on a walk outdoors, and someone walked by with a mask, and she said, good morning. And he said, put a mask on. And she said, I'm outside. It doesn't matter, and kept walking. Neither one of them broke stride. And that's when you say piss off wanker, which, by the way, we should bring back. If we could bring back people saying piss off wanker, that would be great. But were people, the 2 folks in the gym, were they wearing masks as they were working out?
No. A gentleman did come in, and I made fun of him. I sent you a photo of him. He had on like a full neck gaiter thing pulled up, and he was wearing a hoodie. And it's about 85 degrees here.
Yeah.
And so I sent it to another friend, and they're like, well, he could be training for altitude and also for other reasons. Like there is some training methods where you want to deprive yourself of oxygen for some reason. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense to me because he was young and in shape. So maybe that's what he's doing. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Yeah. Oxygen deprivation, I guess I could see that unless you're the lead singer of In Excess. But that's neither here nor there.
David Carradine too, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a weird one. You'd think somebody would make an implement for that purpose that would release before you choke to death, right? It would monitor your pulse and be like, okay, that's enough. We're going to release the pressure so that you can breathe again.
You would think that someone wouldn't engage in that behavior to begin with.
People who do weird shit, Fingers.
Yeah,
I don't know how
clearly.
you figure out that you like that the first time. You're like, oh, I got a good idea. Somebody else has to put that idea in your head. But the first person that did it.
Fun.
Yeah. And smart. No danger.
Oh, if you have 2 minutes, look up.
Are you okay? I'm like,
no. If you have 2 minutes, no. Norm Macdonald has a great bit on that whole thing, and it is. I mean, classic Norm Macdonald and exactly what you would expect from it. And I won't do it any justice by trying to repeat it. So
I'll try to find it and put it in the show notes.
Oh, it's fantastic. But no, I don't get how you discover that is a thing for you. But hey, let your freak flag fly, I guess. But no, I can't. I just don't understand people, especially when you have a wide walking path where, okay, I'm going to give you your space over here. I'm over here. We're outside. It's the middle of the afternoon. Today in central Indiana, I don't know what it's like in Pennsylvania, but it's 92 degrees right now. I'm not walking. I'm not taking a brisk stroll with a mask on outside.
No. It's dangerous. This is what I keep what is wrong with everybody? But I want to find, and I looked for it last night, I can't find it. So maybe one of our intrepid listeners can find it. I don't know if you've seen these memes. My governor put one out with his handy dandy little infographics. So there's 2 masks, and on one side it says my mask, and then there's on the mask itself, which is cartoonish, it says protects you, with a finger pointing at you. And then the other panel is your mask protects me, with the finger pointing at me. So all I could think of when I saw that, I'm like, I want a picture of one of these protests where you've got the left and the right in each other's face, but wearing masks that says the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because that's where we are. Oh, yeah, we're all give a shit about each other as we're just brawling in the streets. And you've got George Costanza and Susan protecting their mansion in St. Louis.
Oh, that was so fun to watch for a number of reasons. First of all, look, I'm a huge Second Amendment guy, but I'm not a gun guy, you know. Seeing the gun nerds that, oh my gosh, trigger control. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand that's a natural reaction for some people. Okay, go get yourself some training. But I'm sorry. 200 people or whatever show up on your private property. I'm amazed that they even had the balls to pull their guns out to begin with. I don't think you should be pointing them necessarily at people, but just make it known that you have them. That's great. But then you got people like Chris Cuomo making a big stink about it. And here's a guy that freaks out if anybody on a bike rides up to him and calls him Fredo. And you're going to sit in judgment of a couple that had 200 or whatever, how many people, I'm probably exaggerating. We'll say 50. I don't care if it's 10.
Yeah.
Come onto your private property.
No, it looks like the friggin' Purge. And I know you don't watch movies about things, but the Purge series, it's like in this world where the Purge exists for one day a year. They call it Purge Night, and everybody's allowed to go. There's no laws.
Right.
At all. The first one is the only one that I've seen, and it's pretty interesting. It all takes place in like one family's house where all this craziness is going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has like purge insurance. You get like extra metal doors that come down I mean, it's crazy, but we don't live in that world per se, but these people seem to be acting it out. If you look closely in the video, it looks like one of the guys is dressed like he's from that movie. So like I was saying before, it's almost like the Joker has now combined. So we've got some Purge Joker crossover with some Mad Max shit going on. Yeah. Everybody's just acting out their favorite apocalyptic film in real life.
Yeah.
I love those two. She reminded me of, have you seen the movie Clue?
No.
Jesus. Well, for everybody else that's a normal human being that enjoys entertainment, you'll remember Mrs. Peacock. You're familiar with the board game Clue, right?
Yes, I do remember the board game Clue.
Well, it's a great movie. You could watch it with the kids. It's kid friendly. Okay. But it's Christopher Lloyd, Leslie Allen Warren. Why can't I think of her name? It'll come to me in a second. Tim Curry, Michael McKean, and why can't I? Madeline Kahn. And they're the Clue characters. Now you appear to be unfrozen. Okay. So I froze in place. Okay. So they're the Clue characters, and they've been brought to this house by a guy that they don't know, and they're all invited to come to this dinner party, and then somebody gets murdered and somebody else gets murdered. And it's all the weapons from the game and figuring out who did it, and it's fun. But the lady that plays Mrs. Peacock is like the only actress you probably wouldn't recognize, and she kind of reminds me of that woman. She's got like the little, whatever the little pistol was in that, and flinging it around like that lady. That lady had never fired that gun before, but she was probably like, honey, I'm going out there with you. Forget this.
Wolverines.
Yeah, you ain't going out there alone.
No,
they interrupted my goddamn dinner. I mean, that's the story that I read. They were sitting out on I would call it a veranda. I think they just called it a patio. But when you got a pad like that, that's a veranda. Yeah. And they were eating their dinner out there, and all of a sudden it's like, here comes the mob.
Yeah, don't get me started on this because I'm really going to start getting pissed off. Once again, the media completely misrepresents what happens there. They make it just sound like these were two people just walking down, this group of protesters were, I did air quotes for you that are just listening, we're just strolling down Main Street in St. Louis, and these people just came out onto their lawn and started pointing guns at these innocent protesters. It's like, Jesus Christ, they were on private property. It's posted everywhere that they're not supposed to be there. And they were like, screw it, we're going on the private property. And now there's photos. I saw some of the live stream where it didn't look like they destroyed the gate, but the gate's destroyed. They went through. And the media narrative is just these two, it's two irresponsible people that are part of the 1% that are standing outside pointing guns at innocent protesters on public property, and it's just horseshit, and they continue to run with it. And once again, this is reason 97,342 why the mainstream media needs to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. But how many people saw that and cheered for those guys and were like, yeah, come to my neighborhood?
I am really worried that something like that is going to happen. And they're going to start going to the burbs, and they're going to start going to rural areas, and those people aren't going to screw around. And there are some people on the left that clearly aren't screwing around either. There's an arrest made in Provo, Utah. A truck was trying to go down the street, and some Antifa guy pulled out his gun and started shooting into the truck. We've seen, the shootings that have occurred in these autonomous zones. Was it in Seattle where there's security?
Yeah, and that got busted up today, I believe. They finally put an end to that.
Yeah. So there are people in these groups that are carrying guns. It's not just bike locks anymore who are willing to use them. And so I'm really worried that this is going to escalate to where we are really going to start seeing gunplay. And that's not going to end well. So,
no. I mean, do you see any way that this ends well?
No. If Biden wins, they'll be emboldened and they'll continue this behavior. If Trump wins, they'll continue this temper tantrum that really started the day after his election and has continued to now street violence. It's only going to get worse. So I don't see how I don't know what the solution is.
You think if Trump wins again, he can negotiate a separation?
Yeah, you think that this is going to end in divorce, right?
It should. We're to the point. Like, we've been talking about that for years. I don't see any reason that we should continue to live side by side under the same sets of laws.
But how do you make that work? I mean, because there are a lot of, I mean, look at Texas, for example. Mm-hmm. You've got most of Texas, and then you have Austin, and now a little bit of Dallas. In Michigan, you've got Detroit, and Flint and Saginaw for the little I-75 corridor there, and then the rest of Michigan. It's not like we can just say, okay, blue state, red state, red state. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know if you go on the county level. I don't know if you go even smaller than that and just say, hey, look, I've heard an argument for just, I will sign up to this social contract, and then those are the rules that you live by.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it can't continue like this. Like, this is insane. And it's not, and why? Why do we continue to do it? Just momentum? Like, if you look at Europe, we're not exposed to countries changing boundaries or any of that kind of stuff. But look at Europe. Go look at the map of Europe in 1900 and then look at it in the year 2000. Because the countries come and go, all these lines change. Like, there's but here, Canada's, well, I mean, they weren't technically a country until much later, but whatever. Canada's been Canada. Mexico's been Mexico. We've kind of moved lines a little bit, but we're not exposed to even the idea that can happen.
Right. I mean, you have a certain segment of the population that doesn't want to have anything to do with the traditions and the history of the United States. And it's clear they're ashamed of their country. They think it's awful. So, maybe they do need their little autonomous zone. And people who recognize that the United States is not perfect, but still are proud to be Americans and still want to be a part of the United States, they have their own zone, and then we build a wall. That's what we do. I mean, look, that's the other thing too that cracks me up. You're seeing, look, today in New York City, I guess that they decided they're going to cut the police budget by $1.2 billion, and I think 1,200 cops. They're gonna slash the force by 1,200 cops. I don't know about you, but my limited experience walking through New York City, I've thought to myself, you know what this place needs? Less cops.
Yep, 100%.
They're living out their fantasy world, and
let them do it.
But the problem is that you'll have a mass exodus out of New York, and they don't put two and two together, and the people who are going to leave New York are going to go to Florida, and they're going to vote for the same Nimrods that said we need less cops. They don't put two and two together. Don't California my Texas. I've heard people say it all the time in Texas. You got a bunch of people leaving Texas or California to go to Texas, or California to go to Nevada, and they leave because, it got too expensive and it's hard to run a business in California. But I'm going to vote for the same people that I voted for in California that made it hard for you to run a business and made it expensive for you to live.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if we're going to learn anything coming out of this and see if anybody that's moving right now from New York to Florida, which I'm sure there are a ton of them, if they're going to put this together and be like, oh, wow, if I had stayed in New York, I would have been still under lockdown this whole time. and surrounded by crazy people, mask shaming me to death. But now I'm in Florida where the governor's kind of dug his heels in and said, no, we're open and we're staying open.
But my governor in Florida is crazy, so I'm going to vote for somebody like Cuomo in New York.
Yeah, I don't know. I get rid of them all. It's completely unwieldy. It totally sucks. They're completely inept.
Yeah. I mean, look, you keep seeing, and I hesitate to say this because I still feel like this is July 1st. I still feel like we're not getting good data when it comes to this virus. And we're never going to, because it's been politicized. But from reliable sources that I've seen who are reporting this, it's like the death rate, and one death is too many, yada, 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 yada. But the death rate is 20% of at its peak. And yet we're seeing more and more cases because testing has been better. But also we've had people out and about, younger people are getting it. We're doing a little better job protecting the elderly. We talked about it before. There was an infectious disease specialist on Rogan who said trying to stop this is like trying to stop the wind. People are going to get this. As long as the death rate isn't what it was back in March and April, and hospitals, while their traffic is picking up, they're not being overwhelmed. We cannot go back to locking down the entire goddamn country.
No, and to your point, let me find this tweet. So there's a gentleman named Alex Berenson, I think his name is. He used to write for the New York Times. And he wrote a book last year or the year before about pot and, that had the dangers that actually do exist from too much pot use. He went on Rogan and got in a big debate on that one, because that's not a place that's friendly to hearing that pot's bad for you. Mm-hmm. But he's been on top of this. His Twitter handle is @Alex Berenson, and you spell Berenson Berenson. And so he had a tweet on the 29th, and he said, "Are you wondering what's really happening in Texas? Here's an email from a senior executive at a Texas ER chain that sees thousands of patients a month." He went on the record, which is a brave move, and I'm going to let him speak for himself. So he's got a whole bunch of screenshots, and I won't read all of it. But one of the things this guy brought up is the reason you're seeing hospitalization spike is not necessarily due to the virus. He said it's a lot of people that were sick that weren't coming in, and they stayed at home and got progressively more sick. So now they're there. And he said they test everybody for it. So it's possible that they're there for some other illness that just got worse and worse, and they're sitting at home, not coming to the hospital, but they also have COVID-19. And he's saying it's younger people, so it's like it's not that serious. They're seeing far shorter hospital stays as far as length goes. So it was really interesting to read that and be like, oh yeah, I hadn't even considered the fact that people haven't been going to the hospital, that are actually sick with other stuff.
Right.
So now we got to freak the hell out again. Oh my God, it's spiking, it's spiking, it's spiking. It's unbelievable. And he said a ton of people are coming in to get tested, and they're gaming the system to get tested because you still have to have a symptom. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of, did you see any of Biden's little press conference, whatever the hell it was? He took questions yesterday.
I saw one, and I'm totally going to butcher the paraphrasing on this, but there was a reporter that asked about his mental capacities, and he said something like, "You want to see it? I watch me, and you'll see," or something. It was something that was so Biden at this
Well, he
point.
said, "I get tested. I get tested every day." So his campaign had to come in and clean that up. Yeah, so he responded. They asked if he's had his cognitive abilities have come into question. Have you been tested on cognitive abilities? And his response, and this is, I'm quoting, I think this was from Axios. Biden said, "I've been tested and I'm constantly tested. I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against." So that prompted, they said the Trump campaign Twitter feed played back the clip and asked, did Biden take a cognitive test? Where are the results? And why is he getting frequently tested? Because that was my thing. I'm like, why is he getting tested all the time? And so then his campaign, Biden's, had to come back, and they had the senior advisor tell Axios that the testing Biden has been talking about is the last 15 months on the campaign trail.
Oh, he's been put to the test.
And that, this is my favorite, that they see Trump's attacks in psychological terms as projection.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Trump's brain's broken.
Yes.
And he's saying Biden's got the broken brain. But Biden, my favorite part was too, they asked him if he'd been tested for COVID-19. Sir, you know, we don't know if you've been tested or not. So his answer was no, he has not been, because he doesn't want to take up a test that should go to somebody else.
Oh, how nice of him.
But then he proceeded to say, all the Secret Service that are around me are tested all the time. And then anytime anybody wants to come see me, they have to get a test. So they're just sitting here thinking, okay, you just told us you don't want to burn one test on yourself, but we're burning through tests like crazy. Anytime somebody wants to visit. Yeah. It's just, and you get a test, and you get a test, and you get a test.
Oh, that's beautiful. No,
Yeah.
he has been tested on the campaign trail, Tracy, with these events where dozens of people show up to see him. You see some of these photos where oh my gosh, there's like 30 people in the gym. He's running for president. The Green Party candidate draws more than this guy. And that doesn't matter. I get it, but but still, I mean, clearly whatever vote he is getting in the fall, I say 93% of that vote is just, I'm voting against Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be. I don't see anybody that's like, I can't wait until Joe Biden's back in the White, he's back behind the podium there, giving us talks from the East Room. We'll be so secure. The world will respect us again when we send out this doddering old fool to represent us. He did say that he's committed to doing 3 debates.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah. And I don't buy this bullshit. We can't do debates because of the virus. Okay. MSNBC is still doing roundtables in their studios. CNN had 3 anchors get it, and they're still going into work. We can work something out here.
Yeah. Instead of a handshake, they can do a little elbow bump and then go to their podium. The cameras are far enough apart. The anchors can sit, the moderators can sit at different tables. I mean,
you could do the whole thing on Zoom.
Well, you don't want to do that.
Why? Because Biden can't get his tech to work?
Between that and I don't trust who's going to be monitoring what's in front of a candidate if they're coming to the broadcast via Zoom.
Well, I mean, I'm being sarcastic about using Zoom, but I mean, they could do live feeds.
But people are suggesting that.
Oh, okay.
I understand. There are people who are serious. It's like, well, but
I'm saying, like, CNN can drop a camera at the White House, drop a camera in Biden's basement, and we're good to go. As long as the audio works and they don't cut out like you keep doing.
Okay, why don't we just end this?
I know, I think we should. And this is why you can't have Zoom debates.
Right. So we're going to end this because we're having tech issues, and it may be on my end. I don't know. It may be a Zoom thing. Thanks, China. So with that, we will say goodbye. She's Tracy. I'm Fingers. Check us out on your favorite podcast platform. Look for the Enough Already podcast. Like and subscribe it. And, of course, you can watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube and BitChute. We'll be back next week. Then all new Enough Already.